Ladies and gentlemen, now Unawakened Morbius is a very spicy champion. He's got the glide, he's got the damage output. However, if you can get this man awakened, and again he's going to be in the Titan Crystals, the 7-star pool next year, and there are going to be future opportunities to get 7-star Awakening Gems. And also I know that certain members of the community missed out on a stamp and they have to take the 6-star version. So again, this is a little bit of like, copium if you have the 6-star, again, much easier to awaken. So what the Awakened ability does is it's like a very different kind of passive immortality, which allows him to not die from any direct damage or effects on Morbius himself. So stuff like any sort of debuff, degeneration, the recoil mastery, he just doesn't die from. So as long as you don't take a direct hit, or the opponent doesn't have any sort of damage back that comes off them, so like examples are like Korg, Electro, and also Mephisto he didn't work against. But there are so many scenarios where he does work really well. And I want to show you like a few of these scenarios in today's video, because it is like quite crazy. If you are a skilled player, if you can play without getting hit, and his Sonic Glide also makes it a lot easier to do that. But also, if you're just questing with like the Nick Fury and Quake synergy, you have those 3 evade charges, so if you have a little bit more buffer as well. Alright, so we're going to attempt the showcase on this. Initially, I don't even have Heimdall, so I've got no safety net here whatsoever if we do go down. Again, I find like once you kind of get into these fights and scenarios, because we're on like a big degeneration node, this is the Icarus one, Heimdall doesn't really matter too much because it just like instantly procs at the start of the match. So I'm trying to get like 10% if I can here, and then just do like a giga comeback. Okay, that's good enough, man. We'll take that. So we're gonna have like massive damage here. I think like just kind of nuking in, doing like another combo, and then probably getting like a special 3 is probably gonna be enough damage. That was too early by like a little bit. But it kind of gets us down enough to start like showing how this immortality functions if you do, as soon as you enter a fight with like Suicide Masteries. So again, the things that we're going to be countering here are like dying from recall, dying from poison, and also dying from the degeneration as well. So there's going to be so much passive damage on Morbius. And also one thing he did work for is friggin' a Mega Red as well, which I was really, really surprised in my testing. So yeah, there are some matches where he just doesn't work, like Electro, Mephisto, Korg, anything that seems to come off the opponent, but Mega Red puts the spores on you, and if it's on you, then you just can't die from it. So it's pretty damn busted. And again, the advantage of this is just, you can have a super passive opponent, you can have like a node that nullifies and completely renders Herc's immortality, non-viable. And this could be the perfect solution if you don't have, somebody with like a relevant immunity. So yeah, just so much stuff that we would be dying from on other characters, but we can just absolutely smash through here. And this is kind of interesting because Awakened, it means that he can just take like so many paths and so many matchups, assuming that you're not taking direct hits. So again, there's still a skill element to it. If I'm going to die, it's probably going to be on this Everfrost. But yeah, if you do take a hit, you're dead. But assuming you don't take any hits, and you can find openings, which again, you can a little bit more with Sonic Glide as well, then you are infinitely chilling. So if you see, like, somebody die with Morbius, it's because they took... Awakened Morbius, anyway, it's because they took the direct hit, or there's some sort of damage back that just exists on the opponent's side of things. Oh, okay, I ran into that instead of rushing away. So again, if you do get hit, you're clapped, you're gone, you're in the Shadow Realm. But assuming you don't, like, you can do some very, very magical things. And again, the kind of cool thing is, thinking about going through stuff as a progressing player, like a lot of the time, you're going into difficult content and you're just looking to use like cheap revives, and you want champions that you don't really need to heal up. And yeah, I think if there's a very skilled player, somebody that can kind of get their handle on combat early, or somebody, doing a second account challenge, there's a lot of stuff that you can just like brute force on Morbius, just because he can counter all sorts of debuffs and take no damage. Like any sort of Clown Fiesta degeneration, I assume, again, as long as it is on Morbius himself, he can just get through counter. And there we go. Little glide into Massacre. Again, didn't get wrecked there, man. Always a nice time. Always a nice time. But I really want to get to the Omega Red match, because there's just a lot of interaction going on there as well. But again, this is like a piece of utility that isn't, as a Battlegrounds player, from that POV, going to be that useful in Battlegrounds, because you don't really want to play at 1% if you're in Battlegrounds, or you're going to get, like, no score. But if you're questing, if you don't have a specific utility option to counter a certain debuff, a certain matchup, it could be an interesting option. Assuming that there's not, like, a Mephisto, Electro, Korg. I imagine a Tumor as well. Probably, like, negates this a bit. And there we go. I actually got a parry against that, dude. I think we got like a perfect block parry, which wasn't too bad. There is that thing, like, it's kind of this constant churn of he's on 1%, right? And the Suicide Masteries, they're still ticking, but Willpower's still ticking. So it's kind of like healing up a little bit. So, you know, if you've got a really high star level, you can still get the, what was it, occasional save there. But again, if you really do want to go for this playstyle, you either need to be A, Sweeter, or Metal Sonic Dude, or you just need to have the Nick Fury synergy as well, because having those 3 evades is really going to save your ass in a lot of scenarios. Where, you know, if you're like me, you occasionally get hit, or frequently get hit. Again, that synergy is just a bit of a lifesaver. But I'm also, like, really interested, because obviously one thing that kind of popped to mind as well is incursions. Like, how good is this guy going to be for, like, deep run incursions? Because that's kind of the main problem I tend to have in incursions, right? Is I get to a point where I've been using Herc for everything, and the boss has, like, you know, friggin' 10 debuffs or something, but then also has Fate Seal on top of that, and I'm like, oh, I can't really do anything. I can't counter that. Maybe they have, like, the, you know, at the start you decay 50%, or you degen 50% of your max health and then regenerate it. So it's always like that in combination with a Nullify that tends to, like, screw me over a bit on Hercules. Or just, like, running out of Gamma charges on Hulk as well as a big one that wreck me. Now, you kind of think the interaction is a bit weird in this fight, because obviously we're bleeding a Mega Red, we're activating his aura, so we should, even from the start of this fight, we should be taking passive damage. But we're not, because we're absolutely chilling here. And then we can, like, fire this off, do, like, a 300k bite, and it's GG. So yeah, that boss, it can be sometimes a little bit trickier if you don't have a perfect Icarus option, but I was so surprised, because I did, like, a testing run before this, and I was like, I kind of expected him to get clapped by, like, a Mega Red. So if you can get through that fight, I'm just curious, like, what else is going to pop up in terms of additional matchups that he can just absolutely cheese regardless of, like, the size of the opponent. And thinking forward to, like, the next Abyss of Legends, is it going to have any sort of scenario where there's just, like, crazy passive damage on you, but also, like, maybe a Nullify or something to make it so that you can't use Hercules, and maybe, like, Morbius might be a good option there. Again, that's just, like, future long-term, like, speculation and hope that Morbius has, like, some really interesting uses and whatever kind of comes moving forward. But yeah, like, I think that's some really, really powerful utility, and the fact that it has, like, no duration on it, literally you can just dash back, is very, very wild. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the villains variant, because again, he's a villain. However, we're going to go for the bottom path down here. So let's jump in. And there is this is also a thing as well. I mean, again, not great for Battlegrounds, but something to consider elsewhere. If you are somebody that does like running the Suicide Masteries, Void is a menace, as many of us know, because he, like, just debuffs you and then you get wrecked. But this is also a bleed vulnerability Void. So yeah, Void's passive damage, I do not believe this man can die from. But here, I'm actually going to make a point of actually just stalling out this fight specifically, because I just want to put a highlight on, like, how long this guy can just survive at 1% health, because it literally is infinite. It's like, once you get to that point, just saved, and then you chill, and if you can't find an opening, again, you just wait for Sonic Glide, And then ideally when they're hard holding a block, you do it right then. But again, this fight could go on for 10 minutes, and he could be as passive or aggressive as he wanted, and we would still be absolutely fine. So I think that's like the really crazy thing about this specific immortality and the way it works is like the other big three I can think of are like Hela, Hulk, and Hercules. For some reason that just, I don't know, it sounded weird to say out loud. But yeah, like they've all got timers on, and this one doesn't, dude. You can be chilling. You can be absolutely relaxing at 1%. I guess there is Corvus as well, but that's always been integrated into the charges, and sometimes, you know, you can accidentally intercept and remove those charges, and then you just get clamped. So that never feels too great when it happens. But the Corvus one, very, very OP. And I think I actually failed that approximate midnight one there. Right, let's go for this. I think this should be able to finish her off. Oh, not quite. Oh, and then we can just glide through as well. So yeah, I've been so focused on the immortality, dude. I forgot we could just glide through special attacks, so I'm being an idiot here. But yeah, that is another thing as well. Like, kind of the culmination of all of that stuff coming together is going to make you a sick beast of a Morbius player. And then more, just to show you, let's try and like fail something here. I'm just like waiting for my stacks to get a little bit higher, because also Maul's degen is like another one. So we take the degen from Maul, but we don't die. See there? Absolutely chilling, having a great time. And there we go. So yeah, I was like, is Maul going to be one of those matchups that like you just can't take because there's some sort of unexpected interaction? But nah, absolutely fine. He's having a fantastic time there. And let's just move on and show like one final matchup against Star-Lord. But yeah, I just wanted to like highlight like how good this awakened ability can be in the right scenario if you are a skilled player. Like, it kind of gives Morbius that thing of like he can be used for so many matchups if you've got that awakened ability. He gets his like, you know, close to full damage, being able to apply ruptures as well to bleed immune opponents. But on top of that, it's just some very, very spicy utility. So yeah, I think we gotta hope, dude, that we get a little bit lucky in the Titan crystals or the 7-star crystals when this man gets added, because this is a you know, I think he is good unawakened. He's still really solid, and I don't think even unawakened, if you were never to awaken this champion, you still probably wouldn't regret ranking him up, because I think he's going to be a solid defender, really annoying to fight against with that, you know, Sonic Glide unblockable charge. But also on attack, like, he's just got some great damage, some great burst, you know, can counter and shut down healing on top of that. But it really is that awakened ability that kind of takes him from probably like the base gold tier kind of ranking that he's at to maybe like solid gold or even beyond gold tier in the hands of skilled players that can play matches and not take any direct hits. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on Morbius's awakened ability, and if you did enjoy today's breakdown and look at it, please do smash that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much for watching, take care, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.